Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Movie Nights movie review. I am Dalton Burdett with the amazing Nick Arricchio. Nick, how are you, my friend?
I'm quite amateurish today. How about you, buddy?
Every time, and I always forget it's coming. Guys, as Nick alluded to, we are talking about The Amateur. This film is directed by James Hawes, I believe is how it is pronounced, and it stars Rami Malek, Rachel Brosnahan, John Bernthal. Um, oh my gosh, why am I blanking on
Laurence
Laurence
Fishburne.
Fishburne? Why did I blank on freaking The Matrix? But anyway, this film is about a kind of a tech guy working in the CIA, and it's kind of, tries to be like an action movie, but from the perspective of somebody who's not the typical action hero. And from the trailers and everything, I believe they made. I know it's based on a book. I believe they made a version of this. I don't know if it was theatrical, but I think they might have made a TV movie about it a long time ago. Like I've done some mild research into it, but diving into this version of the film, I think it is perfectly okay. I think it's bang average. If we're doing stars, I would give it 2.5 stars. It's like
Mhm.
right there, right in the middle. And I don't say that as a particular positive or negative. I genuinely just kind of feel that way about the film as I was watching it, and I'll kind of go into it more now. The movie, the screenplay. Let's talk about the screenplay. It's has moments where it creates genuine intrigue and you as an audience member feel like, oh, we're about to go on a very interesting journey here. And it uses action movie tropes and tries to subvert them, and that's all fine and good. However, in terms of a sequence of events and in terms of getting us to care about characters and their relationships, that's where I feel like the script kind of faltered for me. In particular, I love Rachel Brosnahan. I love Rami Malek. I've personally felt that they had zero chemistry on screen. And I also didn't feel like we didn't spend enough time with the Rachel Brosnahan character to, kind of go through. This is not a spoiler because it's literally in the trailer. It's the crux of the movie. It's like when they kill Rachel Brosnahan, like that's kind of the whole inciting incident. And while you do need to get there by a certain point, you don't want to be boring. I get it. It just felt like it was happened for the sake of happening. It didn't feel like it was something you wanted to put the audience through, which is important to feel. So it had that working against it. But in positives, I think Laurence Fishburne's great in the movie. He's funny, he's intimidating, and him and Rami Malek actually had a really good chemistry together on screen. And I thought whenever they shared scenes, it you could feel the tension, you could feel the humor, whatever was needed for that scene, they were pulling it off quite well. The journey that Laurence Fishburne's character goes on is a bit annoying, and I'm just gonna say that because I don't want to spoil what happens. But Michael Stuhlberg briefly shows up in this movie. That dude is one of the best actors working today. He's so good. And for like the like 2 minutes he's in this movie, he owns the screen. And I just love seeing him pop up because I think he's a great actor. But the movie has some pacing issues as well. I think particularly the second act is, you know, arguably one of the most important acts of a movie, and it does kind of lull and slow down a bit, and not in a way of, oh, let's learn more about these characters, let's have these nice intimate moments. It just felt very, the movie kind of didn't know where to go. And you could tell what it had its this next thing coming up, but it didn't know how to quite navigate that. So that's kind of how I felt. For me, a mixed bag, perfectly down the middle, 2.5 star movie. Nick, I'm gonna throw it over to you. Kind of give me your breakdown on The Amateur.
I agree with all what you said. My average typically leads to about 3 stars. I gave this one 2.5. I think it is perfectly fine, and I was fighting back and forth about giving it that 3 star rating, but I think
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, like the rewatchability factor sometimes comes into play for the perfectly fine movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think this is a movie that I would rewatch again. However, I would go see a sequel if they did it, which is a weird sort of middle ground on it. I think Rami Malek has had a pretty bad post Oscar run. And I feel like that's sort of been a trend with some Oscar winners recently. I
Mm-hmm.
agree with you about the chemistry of it, especially if that's your inciting incident for the movie. They want you to care for Rami Malek's character because he lost his wife, because that's just inherently sad. But I feel like having those moments, those getting to bond and care for it. I think you need to care for the Rachel Brosnahan character just as much for it to be truly, fully effective. Lawrence Fishburne was a fun addition of it. He was in a lot more of the movie than I honestly was anticipating. Uh, I don't know why. It just felt like he was just gonna pop in and pop out, but
Mm,
he played a very good part. He did exactly what you would expect Lawrence Fishburne to do, like you said, the intimidation, the funny. He's just a great actor. Michael Stolberg, again, this whole movie you're sort of waiting for. There's this unnamed person that they're getting to, and if you looked at the cast and you're like, oh, I know that guy. He hasn't shown up yet, and then he shows up in that role, and you're like, yeah, it's about what I expected. But he's such a terrific, great addition to the cast. He can come in and crush anything you want to give him. And to me, I thought that was the best, like the tension and the wrap up and the build up leading to that moment. While I thought the build up wasn't good, I thought the payoff with that scene worked very well.
mm.
And then I liked the John Bernthal character. He's sort of you know, the super suave actual agent to Rami Malek's tech guy, the guy who works on computers in the trailer. I think John Bernthal comes in, he wants to tell you something and he's gonna tell you. Uh, but, I wanted to shout out specifically what I thought worked really was I really love the Holt McCallany character. He's sort
Oh,
of working
yes.
at the CIA. He's sort of Rami Malek's boss in a way. And there's an excellent storyline with him and the new director of the CIA, played by Julianne Nicholson, who I thought she had a great storyline. And their storylines, her and Holt McCallany's, are sort of running this way into each other, and to me, I thought that was when the movie was sort of working the most effective, was waiting for these 2 storylines to sort of cross paths and what that fallout will look like. I think the movie overall, to me, just had a bit of a tonal identity crisis, if you will. I
Mm,
thought there was some humor that, while was kind of funny, was very misplaced. There's a whole joke that happens with, this sort of lock picking scene that nothing about the movie would make you think that this would be happening, from a comedic standpoint. And I think the marketing also didn't do any justice because the marketing, I think, really ramped it up as a action movie. And while there's action in the movie, a lot of it is more this atmospheric thriller type vibe. So like for example, in the trailer, the big scene that they've been showing in the trailer, right, is him exploding the pool with the guy swimming in it. And you see Rami Malek walk out, push a button, and the pool explodes. And you're like, oh, there's got to be more to that scene, and there really isn't.
mhm.
That's sort of like I think where my disappointment has sort of come in with the movie was just like I feel like the marketing lead more into action, and it took me a minute to justify to the atmospheric thriller. And when I finally got into it, that's when it sort of all started to come together, right? Those storylines start converging. Michael Stolberg shows up, and now we're just having a good time.
Yeah, no, it's fair. I'm glad you brought up the converging stories between the CIA director
hmm
and the Holt. Is it Holt McCreary? Um,
McCallany.
McCallany. Thank you. I did like that story as well, and I'm glad you mentioned it because I would have hated for that to go unnoticed. Um,
hmm
Another thing I want to briefly comment on. It's a bit off topic, but you had mentioned that Rami Malek's like post Oscar run from Bohemian Rhapsody, and it has been quite interesting to say the least. Because on the negative side, you do have Doolittle, which he was a voice in, and The Little Things. The Little Things to me was a supremely disappointing movie when it came out, and I didn't love him in it. However, where I'll come in and say I actually didn't mind this performance, and I know a lot of people who disagree with me on this. I quite liked him in No Time to Die. I thought he was pretty good. Nothing insane, but I didn't think he was terrible. And then I never saw Amsterdam, but that movie did not do well. And the only like solidified hit movie and a movie where he like everyone universally agrees that he gave a great performance in post Oscar was Oppenheimer. And it's like, well,
One line.
it'd be weird if he wasn't good in Oppenheimer, like that would almost
Yeah.
be a new achievement upon itself. So it was an astute point, but I just wanted to briefly give my support for No Time to Die, and I thought he was good in it. That's all.
Uh, yes, I just think that your post, because that was like his first, I think. Was that his first movie post
No, he
Oscar?
did The Little Things before that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like I just feel like, just wasn't it. I don't know.
I mean, technically Doolittle, but that was a voice role, so I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
hold
yeah.
that against him.
Even then though. What's his
Yeah.
agent doing? You know.
Yeah.
But I
Fair.
mean, I think he's a good actor. You know, he always looks like he's got a little secret going on. You know, which I think works to his advantage. You know, but he does a lot of times play kind of a very similar character. You know, and that's fine. A lot of actors do it. You know, but I feel like just post Oscar run because I thought to me he did get lost in the Freddie Mercury role.
Hmm.
You know, like I wasn't really seeing Rami Malek in that performance versus a lot of these other performances. I'm like, oh, that's Rami Malek. Like Rami Malek's doing this now. Like, especially even in No Time to Die. Like, I was like, oh, it's Rami Malek, not whatever his villain character name
Right.
was.
And I've never seen Mr. Robot. I've heard he's fantastic in it, and
Mhm.
like it's a really good starring role for him. But I can't bring up Rami Malek without bringing this up because everyone knows that I'm a staunch defender of this movie. He's excellent in the 2014 Need for Speed.
I
I,
didn't know
I
he was in that.
I have to bring it up every time someone from that movie is mentioned. I have to bring up that they're good and that I like that movie.
And
But
surprisingly,
yeah.
they're mentioned a lot.
So, dude, the cast of
Oh my
Need for
god, Rami
Speed
Malek
is cast,
that is
bro.
Rami Malek.
Are you ready for this?
That's so
Need for Speed has Aaron Paul, Dominic Cooper, Imogene Pops, Kid Cudi, Rami Malek, Dakota Johnson, Michael Keaton. I love this. I love this movie. No one else likes it. I love it.
Is he just shirtless the entire time?
Who, Rami Malek?
Yeah.
No, no, but there's just one scene where he like strips at his job, and it's like his big like moment in the movie.
Just because like when you look up Need for Speed, Rami Malek Need for Speed on images, that's
Hmm.
like the first five.
Understood. Got it. Got
Yeah.
it. But off topic. But guys, the important thing is, what did you think about The Amateur? Did you like it? Did you hate it? We'd love to see your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next review.